I would like to request the honorable panelists of the fourth academic session to please come on the stage and have your seats. First of all, we have the chair of the session, Honorable Dr. Saifur Rahman Malik, on the stage. Second, I would like to invite Honorable Mr. Mohammad Bashir Jinjua. He is not here. Honorable Ms. Nida Kamal, Honorable Mr. Abdul Basit, Honorable Mr. Tariq Khan, Honorable Mr. Wasim Abbas, Honorable Zafar Masood, Honorable Hamza Malik. Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth academic session is about the recent developments of Junagadh issue. Honorable Dr. Saifur Rahman Malik will chair the session and 6 papers will be presented in this session. Keeping in view the time constraint, I would like to request all the panelists of the session to conclude the speeches within the given time frame, that is 7 to 8 minutes. As per the schedule of the event, our first speaker is Hamza Malik, graduate from NUST, who is going to present his paper. The topic is Narratives Surrounding the Annexation of State of Junagar. Sir, please present your paper.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Hamza Malik, and the topic I'll be presenting today is narratives surrounding the annexation of state of Junagar. So let's begin. Our first point of order will be research, approach, and thesis statement. Then we'll move on to the circumstances of partition in 1947, the ground realities of the situation. Then we move to the crux of the paper, that is the narratives that the major stakeholders have about the Junagar issue. Of course, the major stakeholders are India, Pakistan, as well as the international community. Then we'll have a discussion and discuss which of the narratives are most in line with the reality. And then finally, we'll conclude the paper. So first of all, the approach is basically centered around the narratives that different stakeholders have. What does India say? What does Pakistan have in mind? What the international community wants and does about the Junagadh issue. Then we'll compare these narratives with the facts on the ground. Of course, it is one thing to say something, but another to compare it with the facts and objectively analyze that situation. And finally, we'll conclude the paper by analyzing which narrative is most closely aligned with reality. So the circumstances of partition in 1947. Junagadh was one of the 565 princely states in the subcontinent after the British left, but it was one of the most prosperous ones. In terms of revenue generation, it was the 5th largest. Among 565, it was number 5. Then, of course, it was a welfare state. People got free food, free education. Citizens were really happy. And of course, it had its own postal services, its own railway service. So it was a very good and prosperous state. The partition was carried out according to the 3rd June Plan, also known as the Mountbatten Plan. It was dependent on the Indian Independence Act of 1947, which clearly stated that princely states could accede to either of the 2 dominions, Pakistan or India. But of course, the states had to keep in mind certain things. One of the most important things that they had to consider was geographical contiguity, whether the state shared a border with the dominion it wanted to join. So let's dive right into the first narrative of the stakeholder, India. India claims that Junagadh has a land border with India and does not share a border with Pakistan. So by logic, it cannot join Pakistan. The second thing India states is that the majority population was Hindus, almost 80%. Again, that is correct, but of course that does not simply represent the will of the people based on their religious identity. And finally, India also says that the law and order situation was worsening by the day. Especially in October 1947, we have seen, according to different sources, that the law and order situation and rioting was taking place. So this was one of the things that India says, that the law and order situation was worsening and they had to intervene, otherwise those spillover effects would come to India. So what does the international community, which can be said to be somewhat unbiased, say? So my paper has done this, that we have taken the coverage of New York Times as a somewhat unbiased source of the events in 1947, especially August 1947 to October 1947. So according to New York Times, India was actively resisting the Nawab's decision. As soon as India found out that Nawab of Junagar, Mohabbat Khanji, had sent the instrument of accession to Pakistan, India was always trying to get in the way of that. So this has been quoted by the New York Times. New York Times also stated that the economic blockade was imposed by India, which made the situation very dire in the state. And of course, Indian response to all of this situation, that it sent 20,000 troops. This was a disproportionate response. The situation was not that bad, but they sent all three branches of military to the region, the Air Force, the Navy, as well as the Army. They cordoned off the entire state, and this worsened the situation. Then another thing that we can do is that a very famous writer, Hodgson, has written in his book, The Great Divide, that Mountbatten admitted and told Nehru and Patel, the Home Minister of India, that any act of aggression against Junagadh could be considered an act of war against Pakistan, because as soon as Pakistan accepted the instrument of accession on this very day in 1947, Junagadh had officially become a part of Pakistan. So an act of aggression against that state would be considered an act of war against Pakistan. So the most important stakeholder, Pakistan. Pakistan says that it was a prerogative of the prince to decide. The Indian Independence Act had given the princely states and the princes the right to choose one of the dominions. And the Nawab chose Pakistan, so by logic, Junagadh should become part of Pakistan. Pakistan also says that the will of the population was there. India basically derived its conclusion based on the religious identity of the people, but Pakistan used logic and said that there was a multi-religious state council, and that state council overwhelmingly voted in favor of joining Pakistan. Another point that Pakistan makes is that India intimidated the Nawab by sending high officials like Patel to meet the Nawab and force him to reverse his decision. Another important part of Pakistan's narrative is that India created these adverse circumstances that it told the world that it wanted to avoid, like the blockade it imposed created riots and violence in the region, which of course led to a worsening law and order situation. And finally, Pakistan says that India acted prematurely because one very important factor, the Sheikh of Mangrol, he was a Sheikh of the neighboring region, and he went to Delhi and all around India telling people that there's a Pakistan military is there in the region. These were debunked, these were false, and New York Times clearly stated there was no evidence of army involvement in Junagadh. So let's have a discussion. Which narrative most closely aligns with reality? India says that there was no border of Junagadh with Pakistan. Maybe not a land border, but a maritime border. And Junagadh state had a 90-kilometer coastline in the Arabian Sea, which directly gave it a border with Pakistan. Maritime borders are a geographical reality. England, for example, has maritime borders with many countries, but not a single land border. Just one land border, pardon me, with Ireland. So maritime borders are important. Another thing that we have discussed is that Junagadh, the will of the people, of the population. As I've mentioned, the multi-religious state council, it clearly voted in favor of Pakistan. It was a representative body, and it represented the will of the people. And of course, another important thing that, according to Mountbatten, that Indian military aggression was a breach of Pakistan's sovereignty. This is very important and somewhat overlooked, that after the accession was accepted by Pakistan, Lord Mountbatten told Nehru that he could not move against Junagadh because it would be considered an act of war against Pakistan. But that is exactly what they did, and this is why it is illegal. Another point that has already been debunked, that New York Times has clearly stated that there was no Pakistan military involvement in the region. And Jinnah also said that we do not have the means to send help. If it did, maybe it would be a different situation. And finally, the law and order situation was worsening after only 2 months. The Nawab announced a decision in mid-August. Till mid-October, there was no rioting, no violence, no law and order situation. So this clearly states that people of the region wanted to join Pakistan, otherwise they would have protested before. Why did the situation only escalate in October? The reason is, according to logic, because of the economic blockade imposed, there was fear of starvation. People began to fear for their safety. And this is the reason why people began rioting and the law and order situation was worsened because India imposed a blockade. So as we have seen that most of the stance of Pakistan is mostly aligned with reality, while that of India is not that much correct. So the international community should act for Pakistan and make sure that Junagadh becomes a part of Pakistan. Thank you.
Thank you, Amjad bhai. Now, without any delay, I would like to introduce the second paper of this session. The topic of the paper is the revival of Junagadh movement, challenges and prospects. Honorable Dr. Mujahid Hussain and Honorable Mr. Tariq Khan have co-authored the paper. Dr. Mujahid Hussain is an assistant professor at Bahria University, Islamabad. Mr. Tariq Khan is MS Scholar in International Relations from Bahria University, Islamabad. Mr. Tariq will present the paper. Sir, you are requested to come on the rostrum.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for inviting me to express my views. The paper, Revival of Junagadh Movement in the 21st Century, Challenges and Prospects. You have must listen various perspectives of Junagadh in the previous sessions. So I would like to shed light on some historical backgrounds that territorial claims and resolutions. So historical background of territorial claims and movements will provide you a sense that how states and how countries claim territories on what basis and on what sources. So here are the numerous territorial claims began between First World War, Second World War, and then after the Cold War. Not even after the Cold War, but after 2001, territorial claims have been made with by various territories, by various countries, states, on the basis of sea, river, or land territories. So there is a project that has been initiated in the United States of America to research on territorial claims that were made since World War I, II, and during the Cold War. So since 1816 to 2001, here are various territorial claims by various regions like Europe, America, Africa, Middle East, Asia, and there were total territorial claims came out 841 territorial claims that were based on sea, river, or land basis. So this was some historical background of territorial claims or movements. And you know, movement, Pakistan movement, what is the source of Pakistan movement? As you know, the Pakistan came into existence when the first Muslim came into subcontinent after the 1857 War of Independence. So till then, Pakistan movement, and then you can take the example of Ottoman Empire. So there are huge examples and clear evidences of territorial claims in the history of Muslims as well as in the Western histories also. So this is the territorial claims that we have seen. So next is how international relations theories see territorial claims or movements or conflicts in this way. So as you know, territory is a basic element or factor or significant factor that produces tensions or conflicts between or among the states on the basis of territory. So we are discussing here Junagadh. So before going to the revival of Junagadh movement, we must understand what is the territory and how they how the issues or tensions created on the basis of territory. So international relations theories, we have gone through in-depth literature and research that international relations theories explains that the likelihood of war or disputes will escalate on the basis of some elements like economic benefits. Whenever a state sees that economic benefits, she will claim territory. Next is material interest. Material interest may be included economic or other. Share contiguous borders. Contiguous borders means they share borders with this claimant territory. So these were the basic some elements that on the basis of every country or state claim territory. So when material interests are interconnected, the more important is that when material interests are interconnected to identity or ideational values. Ideational values means culture, values, ideology. So Junagadh has a long history. So ideational values mean explain history and its connection to history or its identity or ideology. So literature found that three main leading theories, liberalism, new liberalism, realism, and the constructivism can play a positive role in the resolution of territorial tensions or territorial disputes. So not all these three theories individually find or give you the resolution of the territorial disputes, but there are some with flaws always there in the, like constructivism only explains that there are historical backgrounds, ideational values or identity values of the territory. Just like that, Junagadh has constructivism explains that Junagadh has long history that it connects with Pakistan. So ideational values explains, territorially explains. Next is neoliberalism. Neoliberalism, as you know, just like collaboration, each and every state, country must we view the relations with other countries on the basis of collaboration and cooperation. So the neoliberalism suggests that there must be the resolution of territorial disputes or conflicts must be based on the cooperation or collaboration. So the first one was the realism. As you know, every country or states enhance its own power or economic power, security, and it's just that it enhances in power. So literature shows that, research shows that the resolution based on the realism may create conflicts, may create war, may create tensions among states. So there must be a comprehensive framework for the resolution of territorial claims on the basis of these three mainstream theories like realism, neoliberalism, and constructivism. So now come to an overview of Junagadh movement. As you know, there were two developments that were the basis of Junagadh movement. One is the Indian Independence Act of 1947. The second was the 3rd June plan, that was partition plan. These two developments suggest that after the partition of subcontinent, all the princely states that were the almost 562,000, so all the princely states are independent, either to choose Pakistan or India or just to remain as an independent state. So these two developments give the rights to princely states to be an independent, to join Pakistan or India. So unfortunately, India forcibly occupied more than 500 princely states, and some were in the name of Pakistan. So this was the injustice that was made to Pakistan, and this was the motivation that Pakistan has started movement. So the main topic suggestions of the research paper is that who are the contemporary pillars of Junagar movement? Recently, contemporary pillars of Junagar. We have suggestions for, after the in-depth research and literature review, we have come to a conclusion that there were the four contemporary characters or pillars that were the motivations of the Junagar movement. First one, the government of Pakistan and new milestones. As you know, there's a new shift in the foreign policy of Pakistan and new milestones. The second is Highness Nawab Muhammad Jahangir Khan Ji, Nawab of Junagar. Third is His Highness Sahibzada Sultan Ahmad Ali Sahib, Diwan of Junagar and the chairman of the Muslim Institute. And the third one, the role of Muslim Institute and in highlighting the issue of Junagar. As you know, Muslim Institutes are working on Junagar since in a decade. So factors motivating the Junagar movement in the 21st century. What were the factors? Last, I would like to explain, then I will. What were the motivating factors that behind the Junagar movement? These were the ideational values I have previously explained in the international relations theories, that ideational values. Next is instrument of accession, the legal right. Legal instrument of accession was the main motivation behind the Junagar movement. That this gives the right to Pakistan to reopen the case in the United Nations and to aware the people or international community about the Junagar. So this was a motivating factor of the Junagar movement. Next is geoeconomic and strategic issues. The most important is the expose India's hostility against Pakistan, India's aggressiveness against Pakistan. As you know, what is happening in Kashmir, and as you know, India forcibly occupied Junagar as well, and other states as well, Hyderabad, Navdar, and so Pakistan as sovereign and a nuclear power. Pakistan just want to realize the international community that this is a nuclear power, and we do not want to make its image deteriorated. So this was the main cause, motivation factor behind the Junagar movement. So the Pakistan's new political map, this was the great initiative of Pakistan government to towards the Junagar movement and its resolution. So there were some challenges and prospects. New colonialism, Zionist, Hitler policies of India and Indian allies may be challenges for Pakistan to resolve the Junagar issue. So prospects will be, this is the more important, prospects, most important one is Junagar will be the biggest prospect for Pakistan if Pakistan wins the case. Junagar is maritime state consisting of important seaports that will be helpful for Pakistan to expand CPEC project, especially to connect Pakistan through its ports to Africa and Middle East as well. So this will be a huge economic point of view for Junagar and Pakistan economic interests. So this will be the prospects for the Junagar movement. Thank you so much.
Please strictly adhere to the allocated time. Let this chair now to take over this responsibility. Please follow the given timeline, otherwise I'm afraid we won't be able to read the timeline. Thank you very much, sir. Without delay, I'm going to invite the next speaker. The topic of the third paper is Junagar movement in the contemporary era. The paper is written by Mr. Zafar Masood from University of Punjab and Farhan Salim from the University of Central Punjab. Mr. Zafar Masood will present the paper. You are requested to come on the rostrum for the presentation. Thank you.
Should I wait for the speaker or speak to me?
I think you continue.
Sure, sir. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. It is indeed an honor for me to be a part of this one-day national conference on the Junagar. I will be discussing the revival of Junagar movement in the contemporary era. Ladies and gentlemen, After independence, the government of Pakistan under the leadership of Quaid-e-Azam was committed to both Kashmir and Junagadh issues. Pakistan highlighted the issue of Junagadh at United Nations. The then Prime Minister of Pakistan, Nawabzada Liaquat Ali Khan, wrote to his counterpart in India regarding the illegality of Indian actions in the state of Junagadh. Pakistan extends special treatment with the Nawab Sahab and his family. Key political, social, and military leadership participated in the funeral of His Highness Nawab Muhammad Khanji. Pakistan Post Office issued stamps regarding the state of Junagadh. However, with the passage of time, the issue of Junagadh was lost in the pages of history. The focus of the government of Pakistan was shifted mainly towards Kashmir issue, and Junagadh lost its deserving attention. Muslim Institute rightly referred this case in one of its seminars as a tragedy lost in history. Ladies and gentlemen, there could be various possible reasons for this lack of attention by the state and community. I will try to name a few of them here. Firstly, owing to the socio-economic issues and political instability, the focus was shifted towards the internal matters. Secondly, Kashmir War of 1948 resulted in the independence of Azad Kashmir. The attainment of land of Kashmir played a constructive role to keep the issue of Kashmir alive worldwide. On the other hand, no such land of Junagadh was available. Thirdly, United Nations Security Council passed several resolutions regarding the issue of Kashmir. No such resolution was passed regarding the issue of Junagadh by United Nations. Such resolutions would have played a great role if they had been adopted. Fourthly, the Presidential Ordinance number 15 of 1972 abolished the right of a ruler to a privy purse and all other privileges or titles granted to a ruler by or under any instrument of accession, agreement, or under any law. This ordinance was against the instrument of accession and negatively impacted the case of Junagadh. However, the Junagadh movement got its revival, especially in the past 2 decades. Firstly, the role of His Highness Nawab Muhammad Khanji and his successors to carry the issue of Junagadh is appreciable. The sacrifices and contributions of the Nawaz family for the sake of Pakistan are undeniable. Secondly, the active role played by the current Nawab of Junagadh state, His Highness Nawab Jahangir Khanji, to bring the issue in the spotlight is very prominent. He kept on meeting with different lawmakers and policymakers to educate them regarding the case of Junagadh. Thirdly, in the last few years, various documentaries, interviews, talk shows, and newspapers articles were contributed to educate the masses regarding this issue. Fourthly, a significant role is being played by the family of Hazrat Sultan Bahu Rahmatullah Ta'ala alayh in the revival of Junagadh movement. Honorable Sahibzada Sultan Muhammad Ali Sahab, the 10th descendant of Hazrat Sultan Bahu, named one of the guest houses at the shrine of Hazrat Sultan Bahu as the Junagadh house. On average, around 6 lakh people visit the shrine of Hazrat Sultan Bahu annually. Naming the guest house as Junagadh house raised awareness among the masses, especially his disciples, regarding the case of Junagadh state. Moreover, Miratul Arfin, under the supervision of its chief editor, Sahibzada Sultan Ahmad Ali, played an enormous role in bringing this issue in the spotlight. Miratul Arfin is the largest published Urdu magazine in Pakistan. Several research-based articles were published in this magazine, which helped in bringing this issue among the masses. In addition to that, Muslim Institute, the host of today's conference, played a significant role to revive the issue of Junagadh. Multiple conferences, seminars, roundtable discussions, and expert lectures were organized by Muslim Institute. Fifthly, the current government issued a new political map of Pakistan last year, in which Junagadh was shown as an integral part of Pakistan. The appointment of His Excellency Sahibzada Sultan Ahmad Ali as the Diwan of Junagadh state by His Highness Nawab Jahangir Khanji is yet another important development. His Excellency Sahibzada Sultan Ahmad Ali is the most suitable personality for this post. I believe that the appointment of new Diwan of Junagadh and revival of new political map will be the most important events in the history of Junagadh movement. In last several months, His Highness Nawab Jahangir Khanji and His Excellency Sahibzada Sultan Ahmad Ali enhanced their diplomatic efforts and met with various diplomats to internationalize the issue of Junagadh. At the end, the more we sweat in peace, the less we bleed in war. I once thank Again, thank you so much, Muslim Institute and all of you.
Thank you very much. Well managed remarks. The topic for the next paper of this session is Modern Discourse on Junagar Issue, a Critical Analysis. The paper is written by Mr. Muhammad Wasim Abbas. He is a researcher of Muslim Institute. Sir, kindly come on the podium for the presentation.
Assalamu alaikum everyone and good afternoon. The title of my paper is Modern Discourses on Junagar Issue, a Critical Analysis. And the purpose of the research was to do a critical study of the discourses on Junagar issue propagated through the platform of different organizations, institutes, the government of Pakistan, and news media. And particular research questions include what were the efforts made on the issue in 20th century, and what are the modern discourses and developments on the issue, and how different are these modern discourses from the previous efforts. Junagadh was a princely state which was illegally occupied by India. Pakistan raised the issue at the Forum of United Nations, which is still pending. Later, the government of Pakistan only commemorated the issue through memorial activities like postage stamps and recognizing the Nawabs of Junagadh. However, Junagadh issue was not properly being addressed by the government of Pakistan in global community. But some NGOs and institutes owned the issue as a national cause and kept the message intact through their activities and media. In organization, first of all, we have Junagadh State Muslim Foundation. It was founded by Nawab Dilawar Khan ji, and it has been led by the current Nawab of Junagadh, Nawab Jahangir Khan ji. The organization held rallies, protest, and press conference again in Karachi Press Club to raise the issue at national level. And in the first decade of 21st century, there are many efforts from this platform. And the next we have Islahi Jamaat. Islahi Jamaat was founded by Sultan Muhammad Asghar Ali, who is the descendant of Hazrat Sultan Bahu. And it raised the issue from two of its platforms. First was Miratul Arifin International, and the second was Sayye Ittihad Ummat wa Istihkam Pakistan seminars. Miratul Arifin is a monthly Urdu magazine of the organization, which is writing on a variety of national and international issues, especially Kashmir, Junagadh, and Palestine was its focus. And in 2007, the magazine also interviewed Nawab of Junagadh, Nawab Jahangir Khan ji, and published a comprehensive account of Junagadh issue. And the magazine is still writing on the issue. The organization held seminars on struggle for unity of Ummah and stability of Pakistan. Nawab of Junagadh was also invited to these seminars to raise his concerns and demands through the platform of the organization. And the third, we have Nazariya-e-Pakistan Trust. Nazariya-e-Pakistan Trust is an academic and research institution. It organized its first seminar in September 2010. And it frequently discussed the issue in its seminars and conferences. And we have most notable person from this platform, Mr. Majid Nizami, who will discuss this issue on many other platforms as well. And then in institute, we have Muslim Institute. It was founded by Sultan Muhammad Ali, who is the current chief patron of Islahi Jamaat. The institute raised the issue of Junagadh by organizing different roundtable discussions and seminars. The institute highlighted different dimensions of the issue and urged the politicians, journalists, scholars, and the government of Pakistan to raise their voices for Junagadh issue. It also gave recommendations and policy guidelines to the government of Pakistan. In the next, we have news media. The electronic and print media played a very important role by writing news articles to commemorate the issue in early times. They covered the press conferences of Nawab Junagadh, and they also conducted different interviews of Nawab of Junagadh. And they gave regular coverage to the activities of Junagadh State Muslim Foundation and Muslim Institute. And especially we had in September 2016 an exclusive interview of Nawab Jahangir Khanji conducted by Mr. Ahmad Qureshi, which hugely highlighted the issue at national level. And then again the role of Government of Pakistan. Government of Pakistan also included Junagadh and Manawadar in its map in 2012. It was published by World Atlas Map, but at that time, Survey General of Pakistan had not the status of statutory. It was not highlighted so much. But in 2020, the inclusion of Junagadh in the map of Pakistan has given a new momentum to the movement. It is a highly recognizable act of Government of Pakistan, and the map has also been endorsed by all the Shanghai Cooperation members except India. So, in critical analysis, if we do critical analysis of these efforts, it shows that the efforts made in 20th century were only ceremonial and memorial, because there was a lack of political will in properly addressing the issue at national and international level. In modern developments, the efforts of Junagadh State Muslim Foundation were limited, traditional, and more focused on welfare works of Junagadh community. However, the efforts of Islahi Jamaat were determined, focused, and persistent. It was addressing and urging renowned politicians and notable personalities for playing their role to resolve the issue. And the activities of Muslim Institute were very organized, planned, and decisive. The Institute further attracted the electronic and print media to propagate the issue in political and governmental circles of Pakistan. And Junagadh issue got remarkable momentum when Pakistan included Junagadh in her political map. After it, the recent development, Nawab Jahangir Khanji appointed Sahibzada Sultan Ahmad Ali, the chairman of Muslim Institute, as Diwan of Junagadh State due to his utmost efforts and affiliation with Junagadh issue. He has started making diplomatic efforts to raise the issue at international forums. Recently, he has passed Junagadh resolution in which he gave 14 points of Junagadh resolution to resolve the issue. And a lot of news articles are being published, and interviews of Nawab and Diwan of Junagadh are being aired on different news channels. Hence, Junagadh is not an endowment issue like in 20th century. It is now standing on more sound and political grounds and foundation to tackle the challenges of the time. In the end, I would like to thank all of you for your kind consideration and attention. Thank you very much all.
Thank you very much. Our next presenter of this session is Honorable Ms. Nida Kawal. She is an MPhil scholar of Department of History and Civilization Studies at Bahauddin Zikriya University, Multan. Her topic of the presentation is socio-political and economic role of Junagadh community in Pakistan. Madam, kindly come on the podium and present your paper.
Assalamu alaikum. I am presenting a paper on socio-political and economic role of Junagadh community in Pakistan. I shall explore the role of Junagadh community in Pakistan from partition to date. The research will revolve around the administrative, political, economic and social role of Junagadh community in Pakistan. Junagadh state was a princely state of British India which succeeded to Pakistan as per Indian Independence Act 1947. However, Indian Army attacked and occupied the state with force. The people of Junagadh community migrated to Pakistan for the love for the country. Junagadh community they basically belonged to Lohana Hindu caste who embraced Islam at the hands of Sufi preacher Sayyid Yusufuddin, a disciple of Abdul Qadir Jilani. They were called Momin by him, which changed as Maimun afterwards. In administration, Junagar community played a pivotal role in the administration of Pakistan at the time of partition. Memon community helped the people to shift to Pakistan. Furthermore, the Memon community in Pakistan formed an Okhai Memon Jamaat that managed the residence of land to the migrating people. In political role, Nawab Dilawar Khanji remained the governor of Sindh. Ashraf Tabani, a famous Memon businessman, remained governor of Sindh and provincial minister of finance. Mahmood Haroon, a Memon politician of Pakistan, served as federal interior minister and federal defense minister. In economic role, survival of Pakistan's economy was entirely based on human skills and capital. Memons participated in economy of Pakistan by doing business and using trading skills in East and West Pakistan. There were 22 business families at that time, and among them 7 were Memons. The prominent business groups of the community include Adamji Group, Daud Group, Rangoonwala Group, MH Dadavoy Group, Bhavani Group, AKD Group, and ARY Group. These business groups are still contributing to the economy of Pakistan by growing their business ventures and activities. The community is contributing a remarkable role in social sectors like education, art and literature, healthcare, social welfare, religion, and sports. In education, the community established educational boards and many foundations to finance these academic institutions. The process was initiated by M.A. Rangoonwala. The foundations built to fund these academic institutions include the following names: the Daud Foundation, Adamji Foundation, Junagar State Muslim Foundation, and many more. The prominent institutions include many schools in Sindh, including Daud Engineering University. In literature and art, Muhammad Umar Memon translated many books from English and Arabic to Urdu and from Urdu to English. In architecture, the community built a lot of mosques wherever they went. In the sector of health, the community has built hospitals and healthcare institutions to support healthcare in the country. Furthermore, there is a network of dispensaries, clinics, blood banks, first aid centers, and other primary healthcare centers. The community is famous for its social welfare works in Pakistan. Eidi Foundation, Salani Welfare Trust, Aziz Taba Foundation, and Daud Foundation are run by the prominent figures from the community. Apart from this, there are a myriad of hospitals, orphanages, ambulances, disaster relief centers, child care centers, and many more social welfare centers which are run by these trust foundations. In religious role, Ilyas Qadri founded Dawat-e-Islami, which is working in 194 countries of the world. It has multiple departments which are working in the propagation of Islamic teaching through publications and social media, etc. In sports, Muhammad family is the pioneer of Pakistani cricket. Hanif Muhammad was revered as original Little Master by ESPN Cricket Info. In a nutshell, the analysis of the role of Junagar community shows that there are historical ties between people of Junagar and Pakistan. The people of Junagar community proved their love and patriotism with Pakistan with spirit. There is dire need to unite the community under the leadership of Nawab to properly raise the issue in global community. Appointment of Diwan of Junagar is the turning development of the cause of Junagar. There is a need to strengthen the ties with Junagar community because the case of Junagar state is strong due to the Nawab of Junagar. If Nawab is strong and supported by the Junagar community, he can better fight for their cause and their people. Pakistani government should not only acknowledge the efforts of Junagar community but also support the people of Junagar at every stage. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Nida Kamal. Our next presenter of this session is Honorable Mr. Abdul Basit. He has co-authored his paper along with Mr. Tokir Amir on the topic, The Role of Junagar Community in the Social Development of Pakistan, an Overview. Mr. Abdul Basit is a lecturer in the School of Media and Communication Studies at University of Management and Technology, Lahore. Mr. Tokir Amir is lecturer in the Department of Social Work at the University of Sargodha. I would like to invite Mr. Abdul Basit on the rostrum. Thank you. Excellencies, academicians, journalists, politicians, respected guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, and good afternoon. My paper's topic is the role of Junagadh community in social development of Pakistan, an overview. My paper is a review-based study which tried to explore the role of Junagadh business community in Pakistan. It highlighted some major facts that there are 3 million Junagadh people living in Pakistan. They have great contributions in industrial, educational, welfare, sports, banking sector of Pakistan. Similarly, there are many personalities like Muhammad Brother, Abdul Staredi, and Javed Miadad who have significant role in the development of Pakistan through contributing in different sectors. Major groups including Dadabai, Adamji, Pardesi, Dawood, Memon's family who belongs to Junagadh, they are serving for Pakistan and contributing for developments in different fields of life. Moreover, Junagadh was one of the welfare and richest state of British India before the partition of Indo-Pak subcontinent. Since people of Junagadh dominated in businesses and trade, they did not accept Indian occupation and a large number of them moved to Pakistan. Additionally, many people of Junagadh are partaking in financial area and contributing altogether to Pakistan's economy since independence. And the objectives of the study were, this is aimed to provide a comprehensive overview on the role of migrated Junagadh business community in social development of Pakistan. This study also cites contributions of Junagadh business community to Pakistan's economy, politics, banking sector, and in many other fields of life. This study also explored the problems of Junagadh business community in Pakistan. There are many business groups that are producing different things in Pakistan and also helping the poor community of Pakistan. Following are the major groups that have many resources in Pakistan. Dadabai Group of Companies, Bhavani Group of Companies, Kareem Group, Dada's Enterprises, Harun Group, Gul Ahmad, Al Karam, Qasim Dada, Facto Group, Tawakkal Group, Prudential Group, Hashim Group, Latif Jamal Group, Ghani Group, Yunus Brothers, Jafar Group, Bengali Group, Suleiman Haji Umar Group, and Gatron Group. And there are many other groups that are participating in the economy of Pakistan. Dawood Group is a philanthropist and has significantly donated to formal education, healthcare, and disaster relief in Pakistan. The Dawood Foundation has assisted those who affected by the tsunami of 2004, the 2005 earthquakes, and the 2010 flood. In the current situation of COVID-19 pandemic in Pakistan, this group has remarkably contribution in different sectors. Other than industrial revolutions, the Amin Bhavani Group has a strong commitment to community welfare. It has number of charitable trusts and institutions serving different communities across the country. Adamji Group of Companies is a conglomerate company based primarily in Karachi, Pakistan. The group was headed by Sir Adamji Haji Dawood. This group has jute, sugar, textile, tea, cement, steamship, insurance company, bank, cotton, tobacco, oil, and many other businesses with full and shared ownership. At the conclusion session, it will be concluded on the basis of the secondary data that Junagadh is still part of Pakistan. However, it is under unlawful Indian occupation. There are 3 million people belonging to Junagadh
that are living in Pakistan. There is an urgent need to pay special heed to uplift the Junagadh business community in various walks of life. As like Government of Pakistan must provide facilities to the business community by favorable policies. Unfortunately, the case of Junagadh has not received due attention. It is observed that the issue was not pursued by the successive governments. Even the academic and media debates disappeared with the passage of time. And the last session, there are some recommendations by the research. Government of Pakistan can create communication networks among companies, technology providers, educators, regulators, and other members of manufacturing units of Junagadh business community in Pakistan. A long-term strategy is the need of the hour for deploying economic and political relations with Junagadh community who are living in Junagadh with the help of business community of Pakistan. Young generation should be keep aware of Junagadh issue, which is only possible if its history and details are included in the textbook of Pakistan. Media should play a vibrant role in creating awareness regarding this issue among general public. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdul Basit. Our next speaker is, he is not with us physically because of unavoidable circumstances. He is Honorable Mr. Mohammad Bashir Janjua. He is the Joint Census Commissioner in Pakistan Bureau of Statistics, Ministry of Planning, Development and Special Initiatives. The topic of his paper is Geopolitical Importance of Junagadh State in the Subcontinent. We have a video lecture. I request my IT team to please play the video.
Geographical fact sheet, economy, industrial profile, industrial locations, infrastructure, sport infrastructure, social infrastructure, tourism, investment opportunities, and conclusion and the way forward. This is an overview of Junagadh state. Junagadh is now a district located in western Gujarat state of India. District is divided into 14 talukas. The focus sectors are mineral-based cement industry, fish processing industry, agriculture-based industry, and power sector. This is a geographical fact sheet and describing the geographical location, temperature, rainfall, area, and other parameters. Agriculture is the backbone in the district economy. 70% of population is engaged in primary sector, 22% in secondary, and 8% in tertiary sector. Fish processing industry is a major sector in Junagadh. Presence of huge reserves of limestone makes the cement industry is thriving industry sector in the district. The major business of the Junagadh district includes mineral-based, agriculture-based, and marine-based. Major crops produced in the districts are wheat, oilseeds, cotton, mango, banana, onion, and brinjal. Total production of oilseed in Junagadh is in 2006-7 was 464,400 meter ton, which was the highest in the state. Junagadh is the largest producer of groundnuts and garlic in the state, contributing 26% and 34% to total production respectively. Junagadh is the fourth largest producer of cereals in the state, and mango and onion are produced in large quantities in the district. There are over 40 medium and small scale industries in Junagadh district involved in sectors such as cement plant, edible oil, refinery plants, and fish processing units. There are over 7,000 small-scale industries operating in Junagadh district in sectors which includes food products, chemicals, electrical equipments, textiles, and repairing and servicing. As per the industrial entrepreneur memoranda EPMs, IEMs, the total investment during 1998 to 2007 were $849.75 million US dollars. Around 90% of the investment during 1998-7 came from sectors such as chemicals and cement and gypsum products. These are the airports and ports and water supply overview of the district has its own domestic airport, two ports, Veeraval Port and Surtarapada. These are the two ports. Social infrastructure, education, Junagadh Agriculture University offers education in agriculture, engineering and fisheries. The research center of Central Institute of Fisheries Technology, located in Veeraval Taluka, is involved in research related to fishing, fish processing. The National Research Center for Groundnut is located in the district. Technical colleges offering courses in chemicals, civil, electrical, electronic and communication information. Junagadh also has a fisheries college located in Veeraval Taluka, offering courses in pisciculture. Health, Junagadh has several hospitals and research centers providing a comprehensive range of medical services. There are 15 community and 55 primary health centers, and a general hospital provides specialized medical facilities for liver diseases. In social infrastructure, these are the tourist points in the district: Gir National Park, Mount Girnar, Kanke, Talalay, and Kutiwana. There are two rivers, Sonarakh and Kalbo. The city has several lakes. Junagadh has two dams, and groundwater supply is widely available in the district. This is an overview of sacred sites for spiritual pilgrimage. The last one is the conclusion and way forward, and Junagadh holds great strategic importance as a maritime state in the western Kachhiwar region of India. Having surface area covers about 8846 kilometers, the state can be considered to be a geospatial space connecting with Arabian Sea. The region is predominantly mountainous and consists of a number of landscapes that vary in terms of terrain, climate, hydrographic network, soil, flora and fauna, and social relations. Junagadh as a coastal state plays a central role in global maritime regulations enforcement. India has been changing its policy, objectives and tactics with the passage of time according to periodic developments. Undoubtedly, Kashmir dispute is a complicated issue because of India that has exercised overwhelming influence over their policies since partition. While India views Kashmir as Muslim majority state whose ruler opted to accede to India, India strictly refrained from applying the same principle to Junagadh, whose ruler decided to join Pakistan. Instead, India forcibly occupied the state as far as other states were considered. India insisted that these states should join India primarily because of the Hindu majority population. The ongoing Kashmir dispute is the product of orderly worked out partition plan by the British Empire. As far as the future of princely states are concerned, only scant attention was paid to the issue and a set of guiding principles announced without focusing on cases of possible violators of the guiding principles. In past, after the initial resistance, Junagadh has never been a major issue between the two neighboring countries. In the national community, especially the regional powers, may give Junagadh its due right by practically completing the accession of Junagadh to Pakistan. As in the legal domain, it is already a part of Pakistan and it will remain as Pakistan. International community has to step forward for resolution of such issues for sustainable peace in South Asia. Junagadh issue should be highlighted worldwide, just like occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Diplomatic efforts should be accelerated. The government of Pakistan should revive the accession case of Junagadh state at various international forums, including the United Nations, as the instrument of accession are still intact. Junagadh case should be taken forward along with Kashmir and other such cases. Diplomats, academias, politicians, journalists, researchers, and people from different walks of life must participate proactively. Thanks.
Thank you. Before I would invite the chair of the session for the remarks, we have an interactive session. Please raise your hand and get yourself recognized. Briefly introduce yourself and your question to any of the presenters. Let me clarify that kindly ask the relevant questions and do not comment as we have a short of time. Please raise your hand for questions.